I liked it until the end, 2-5, because I'm like, Howie don't do well with commands or demands. But 2-5, you played for the Eagles, all-time rushing leader. How you feel about that, A.J. Brown?
I like that, though. I like when I see, like, the wide receiver, especially the main wide receiver, speak on his quarterback. Like linemen speaking on their running backs. When contract situations occur, some quarterbacks don't do that. I watched Drew Brees didn't speak up for Jimmy Graham. And the All-Star players, we all were texting him, like, yo, you see that? Because it's surprising. This is your main guy. Stick up for him. So I like to see that.
Shady, go even further back, though. The primary beef, at least publicly, between T.O. and McNabb. You ain't even got to go far. The primary beef, I've talked to both of them publicly and privately, along with the GM at the time who did the deal, was that McNabb spoke up, I believe, for Westbrook. Correct me if I'm wrong. McNabb spoke up for running back Brian Westbrook when he wanted a payday, but McNabb did not speak up for T.O. when T.O. wanted a payday. And if I'm not mistaken, that was a primary fracture. Dave, you're giving me a facial expression.
No, A, good memory.
Yeah, good memory, right?
Like, if speak up for T.O. or you're probably going to hear about it. That's why I was making the face.
And T.O. was going off.
Oh, my God.
Like plays. Yeah. I'm talking about on the field.
Oh, no. And I hear you, and we joke all the time about Howie and how he's not afraid to make deals, but if there's a guy who can say Howie get it done, it's probably A.J. Brown. I mean, he traded a first-round pick for him, then made him one of the highest-paid receivers in football, and A.J. delivered on every bit of it. If he thinks that Jalen Hurts is worth a contract, good on him for saying it, and he's one of the few who can.
Well, also, this might not move the needle or the numbers, but it clearly is going to say something about how people will respond in the locker room.
Yeah.
What the energy in the building will be if they play around here. And you didn't mince words, so you know exactly how everyone's going to feel, and particularly how A.J. Brown's going to feel if you don't get it done. So while he doesn't necessarily have the power to decide what an actual deal will be or when it gets done, knowing this is what the reaction will be, and this will also play into the fan base as well, that loyalty is going to play a factor in this contract situation is important.
Well, the team in the NFC that actually has a more urgent quarterback situation isn't the Eagles. It's actually the New York Giants. Why? Because Daniel Jones was a first-round pick, and they did not pick up his fifth-year option. What's that mean? Well, now, in theory, he's a free agent. Along with that superstar you're seeing on the scene, Saquon Barkley, the Giants are in a dilemma. For those of you at home that do not realize, you can only use the franchise tag on one player. What is the franchise tag? Franchise tag simply says, hey, you are under our contract and you will get the average of the top 5 highest paid at the position. Dave will break down a couple more details on all that. So now it comes down to Saquon Barkley, Daniel Jones. Who should the Giants prioritize? For me, it's simple. Saquon Barkley. Because Saquon Barkley is the player that is as close to a one-of-one player as you can be. Like, Saquon Barkley is a talent that you can't coach. You just have to be blessed to receive. Daniel Jones, on the other hand, he's a top 15, top 20 quarterback. Saquon Barkley is a top 3 running back. And we saw it this year when he was healthy and he went crazy. Rookie of the year, if you want to go back to 2018. Fast forward 5 years, he's healthy again, and he gave you over 1,500 all-purpose, if I am not mistaken. So while obviously quarterbacks are important, what I know about Brian Daboll is this. If you can get to the playoffs with Daniel Jones, and we did not think highly of Daniel Jones, nor did the Giants, because the Giants didn't pick up their 5th-year option, then I believe Daniel Jones is more replaceable 2-5 than Saquon Barkley. But you are the leading rusher running back on the desk. You got to go, big dog.
I was hoping I would go like 2nd or 3rd.
Who's more important to the Giants' success, Saquon or Daniel Jones?
This is a hard one. It truly is. And I hate to even say this because I'm a running back. I got to go with the quarterback. This is a quarterback-driven league. And then Saquon Barkley is a phenomenal athlete, a superstar talent. You probably won't see another Saquon for another 5, 6, 7 years. He has that type of talent. But, I mean, every year we expect Saquon to get busy because we know his talent level. We know his skill set. He's always injured. With 4 years, he missed 22 games, right? And I hate to even do this, but this is my job, and I got to do what I got to do. His best year was his rookie year, if I'm not. Okay.
And then this one.
They were 5-11. His best year he had. Yeah. You know what the best year that for Danny Dimes had? Playoff win. Ooh. You see what I'm saying? So if I had to just pick a player, yes, I want to go with Saquon because he's such a talent. You know, now minus the injuries, he's a talent. But for a franchise to win and going forward, you got to have a quarterback. And Daniel's been doing good, man. Yeah. I think the best thing about Brian Daboll is we've seen him really showing his true colors as a coach. right? Not just a head coach, but as an offensive coordinator type of guy. You see him what he did with Josh Allen, and you see what he did with Danny Dimes. He can change that. So my thing is, if Danny wasn't doing good, I mean, for most of his career, and his last year he balled out because of the new coach and change, imagine what next year was going to look like. The year after that, he'll get better and better, and you can win with him. I think you pay the quarterback at a nice number. That's another thing I want to talk about. You're not paying Lamar Jackson here, right? You paying Danny Dimes. So give a nice payment for your quarterback, but save enough to get some pieces around him because the Giants, they need some players. So I would go with the quarterback.
I'm so relieved. When I heard that that's where Shady was going to go.
I hate to do that, though, Dave.
But I'm relieved because I didn't want to get up here and slander your position.
Oh.
But it's easier to find replacement production at running back. It just is. 15 running backs ran for 1,000 yards this year. 5 of them were first-round picks. This speaks for itself. And that could be you can find a Derrick Henry and a Nick Chubb in the second round. Aaron Jones was a mid-round pick. Tony Pollard, the guy who made, we all forgot about Zeke Elliott. Tony Pollard, 4th-round pick for the Cowboys. You can find this production all over the draft. And even though I don't think the world of Daniel Jones, seriously, how many quarterbacks are you getting this type of production from, and how many of them weren't drafted in the first round?
Right.
It's just very, very hard to find top tier, or even, I don't even want to say top tier. It's hard to find above average quarterback play without investing in it. That's not to say Daniel Jones should set the market. I wouldn't. That's why I would tag him. I would tag him. You can use the non-exclusive tag, $32 million. If somebody wants to come get him, they give you 2 first-round picks, and I go, oh, no, why would you take Daniel Jones from me? No, okay, 2 first-round picks, cool. That's what I would do.
Right.
But it's still quarterback. It is hard to find above average quarterback play.
This is what's interesting to me. Daniel Jones was 21st in passing touchdowns. You want to talk about how many rushers had 1,000 yards? You said 15. How many quarterbacks had more passing touchdowns than Daniel Jones? 20, including Jimmy Garoppolo. And y'all know Jimmy Garoppolo ain't play every game this season. And he ain't even start the season, nor did he end the season. My thought, Joy, is if you were to draft right now and you could draft Daniel Jones or Saquon Barkley, you're drafting Saquon Barkley.
Yeah.
Like, if you had a roster and they were both coming out of the draft and one was 26 and one was 24 or 25, whatever they are, because they're around the same age, you drafting Saquon. So this is a similar predicament. You got to make a choice as it pertains to the tag. You can sign them both long term. That's just why I'm thinking Saquon. But, Joy, what are you thinking?
Well, you didn't count Daniel Jones' rushing numbers as
We
well.
didn't.
A lot of them.
And that
We
matters.
didn't count
A lot of
Saquon's
them.
receiving. That's the only reason I didn't do that.
No, you did.
Jones ran for more yards
Let's
than
just start
Saquon
adding
caught, but-
quarterbacks' rushing yards. That also those yards, those touchdowns also count. We have a tendency to do that. Those numbers contribute to the wins and losses. Jalen Hurts, Lamar Jackson, Daniel Jones is a dual threat quarterback. He is. Yep. He's a really good running quarterback. I disagree with you that you would probably take a quarterback at the position if you were drafting if you didn't have a quarterback over Saquon, because it's the most important position. This is why you're going to earn your front office money, the guys in New York. I wouldn't want to have to make this decision. I would tag Daniel Jones because this is the first year that we've really felt confident in what Daniel Jones can do. And even with the great year that they had, he was 9-6-1.
Yeah.
I mean,
15 touchdowns. It's not amazing, yeah.
let's see.
Playoff win.
He did.
On the road.
He did. We've seen other quarterbacks do that, though. I'm just saying he's not a quarterback that you can hamstring your organization over.
Right.
And while he very much wants his money and probably feels he deserves it, and good on you, go get it if that's how you feel. But you need to see more high-level production from Daniel Jones before you commit to him long-term. Whereas Saquon, we know what this offense looks like without him, what that locker room looks like without him. He's really the face of the organization.
Correct.
And he has been. So if I have to choose between a player that I'm going to commit to long-term right now, it's definitely going to be Saquon. Tag Daniel Jones, because I feel that even though Daniel Jones is a harder position to replace, Daniel Jones as a player isn't as hard to replace.
That's where I'm at. Like 2.5, at least in my limited 4 years in the NFL, I realized this. There are only so many freakazoids.
Right.
If you have a freakazoid, keep the freakazoid.
Right.
When I was in Philly, it was you, Jeremy Maclin, Deshaun Jackson, Jason Peters, and a healthy younger Michael Vick.
Okay.
Those were the dudes that I was like, yo, you don't see these dudes often. They different. We didn't have you anymore. We didn't have D-Jack anymore. We didn't have Maclin anymore, and Chip Kelly was quickly fired. Saquon Barkley's one of those freakazoids.
Right. I
You
agree.
can roll out a Saquon Barkley on the field and be like, yo, I'll go to war with you any day.
Right.
Who is Daniel Jones? Like, what you talking? Like, who is he? If Daniel Jones gets off the bus, we're laughing. Saquon gets off the bus.
I agree with that. Now, you got to make a point, but the last 2 years, he's only combined. He's at 900 yards combined. He's not playing.
On average, yeah.
Think about that, though. So, like, Saquon is that type of freakazoid, like, different type of talent. But also, he got to play. The biggest talent is if you're available.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And he hasn't been. So, yeah, I get that. This year he balled out. But if you look at his history and his patterns, the 1 year he balled out, and he missed, 2, 3 as a player. So it's like, if you're going to put all this money and invest in Saquon Barkley, the running back, because I love the running backs, pay the running backs. But you got to play.
I have a question for you.
Got to play.
Real quick. Last year, Daniel Jones was really good.
Okay.
For Daniel Jones. Last year, Saquon Barkley was really good.
Beast.
Period.
Yep.
Let's not act like DJ wasn't bad them first 4 years either. Because while Saquon had been hurt, at least he good. Daniel Jones was just healthy and not good. So, like, if we're going to look at Saquon and say, man, but you've been hurt, don't you also have to look at Daniel Jones and say, hey, but you've been bad?
Well, I mean, he asked you the question, but we've seen, Shady brought it up. Saquon was great as a rookie, and the Giants were bad.
5-11.
Daniel Jones plays well, and the Giants go to the playoffs. I would love to know, what does competent quarterback play do for you as a running back? Like, how much easier is your job?
A lot of them yards Saquon has because Danny Jones is throwing the ball out, getting the ball out there on time. The box gets full, you throwing the ball, okay, let me loosen the box up. Now you can run a little bit. And your coordinator, Dayball is a hell of a coach, man. So my thing is, like, if I can do this with you in my first year, right now we got a whole year of tape. So I'm going to sit Danny Dimes right here. Come here, sit down. And I'm going to show you how to get better and better and better. Tape is everything. All season to develop, where he didn't have that before. He might be better than what we think. Now, yes, Saquon is probably a better talent, obviously. Yeah. Saquon's a beast, but you got to play. You talked about me and Deshaun. I'm out there every Sunday. Yeah,
it's real.
Come on.
Real,
so
yeah,
you need your guys to be playing.
Shady didn't do that hurt stuff.
Yeah, training room, I want in there.
That's my favorite Shady quote.
Subscribe here to get the latest from Speak, and go watch a few segments from our other shows on FS1.